People told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals. Let's go!
Nothing matters but winning.
You're going to the NBA Finals for the first time in your career.
Canada, the NBA title is yours. The Toronto Raptors are the 2019 NBA champions.
Here we are, episode 11, Rapzville Weekly. We are back. Thank you all for coming. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about off-season signings and free agents. With the likes of Marc Gasol possibly leaving. We talked about this last episode. If Marc Gasol does leave or he wants too much, same thing with maybe Rondae Hollis-Jefferson or some along the lines of that. If these players happen, we let them go. What are some free agent pickups we could be looking at here? One good free agent signing, I think that might be able to replace the job as someone in that big man category, is Markieff Morris. He's an ultimate stretch four at 6'8", 245 pounds. He can play the 3 or the 4. He's a bigger player, 245 pounds. That's pretty heavy. He's also a veteran leader, with tenacity, and he takes a lot of pride on defense. I think he'd be a great backup big who's extremely versatile. And I think he will basically challenge anyone on the defensive end. And it will fit good in the perimeter as well. And inside, with those switches, he can guard the 3, he can guard the 4, possibly even the 5 if it's a mismatch or something like that. He's got the size to do a bit of that. So I think that with losing maybe Marc Gasol and that big body that he was, I think Markieff Morris might be a good replacement just off of his size alone. And, he does lack some consistency in shot selection IQ at times, but I think he brings energy that, be really important to us if we did lose Rondae Hollis-Jefferson in free agency, like we talked about last episode. That's what we think makes a difference in Rondae being in our team is that energy. And although we can't do the best on the shooting-wise, like on the offensive end, he can still perform just off of a lot of energy and transition plays and driving to the basket. I think that Markieff Morris can fit that role perfectly if Rondae decides to walk. I think this would be a solid pickup, and I think he'd fit well in Toronto in general. So, Adam, what is another offseason signing that we could be looking at here?
Okay, so this one is for center Marc Gasol. It's Meyers Leonard from the Portland Trail Blazers. It could be for Rondae or Marc, but mostly for Marc. He's a stretch big player, space the floor. Measuring in at 7'1", 255 pounds. He is a big body and a very experienced player in the league, playing multiple years in the league now, with 8 years. He can give us very big screens and is kind of that physical replacement that if we lose Marc, we need under the rim. But clearly he will be a role player backing up Serge Ibaka or even a third center if Chris Boucher really steps up his game. He does lack like points, the scoring game, and assists. So his offensive game altogether is a bit low, but he can space the floor and shoot the 3. But to replace Rondae and Marc's presence on the glass, he could surely hold his own. So he can really, defend under the rim and also make a presence in contesting shots and all that. I believe he can fit well within the Raptors style of play. I believe he needs to be an active under the rim protector to consistently stay poised defensively. He's got to be locked in. I've watched a couple of games of the Portland Trail Blazers this year, and he wasn't locked in, and he didn't look too aggressive, and guards were like blowing by him and just getting to the rim. I feel if he is locked in defensively, I feel like he could be a great contribution to the Raptors team. And he does space the floor, so I'm sure Nick Nurse can put him in a couple of plays on the offensive end and be creative with that. Gabe?
I think that just staying with Leonard for a second here, I think if he gets involved, he can do some damage. I've seen his stats. I know that they're not the highest. He's been mostly just an average role player, but he is that big body, 7'1", 255 pounds. He's a good replacement just for Marc's size alone, set the screens, some simple inside game. It could just be as simple as that. Obviously not bringing a starting role as Marcus would. That would be, I guess, Serge Ibaka's job. But a third role, maybe even a backup, just a couple of minutes, I think he'd just be the simple replacement. Same thing with Morris. Not the highest in the stats list, but if we need to do the small things like Rondae, he can be there. So moving on to Marvin Williams now is another player, another veteran that's has always been able to shoot the three ball throughout his career, and I think his spacing could fit right in with Nick Nurse's dynamic offense, as well as making the playoffs 6 times out of his 14 NBA seasons. He stands at 6'8", 237 pounds, being able to play that small forward position as well if needed. And he for sure doesn't have the athleticism as he used to in his early days with the Atlanta Hawks, but I can see him being 8th to 10th man on our roster if we need that, very far down the list role of just a veteran fill the spot. He could be decent, possible replacement for Rondae if he leaves, adding some more depth to the team. I personally think I like Morris better just off of tenacity and vigor, but I think that Marvin Williams is another player that could make the replacement if necessary. Adam, you can give your final one.
Okay, so final one would be Torrey Craig from the Denver Nuggets, an extremely versatile, underrated defender, as he can guard players from the 1 to the 4. This is for sure another ideal pickup for Rondae or Stanley Johnson if we do waive him. Hopefully not, but I still see Stanley bringing a bit to our team. I just didn't feel like he got the opportunity, and he wasn't in a rhythm, didn't get too much play time, so hopefully we see more of Stanley. Craig can also space the floor on the offensive end, which Rondae or Stanley couldn't do on offense. They really struggled at that, which is kind of their downfall. Craig is 6'7", 215 pounds, with fast footwork, being able to handle guard speed and enough strength to hold his own in the paint. That's really important, kind of like OG Anunoby with the quick lateral quickness. It's really important as a wing player to have fast feet and to be able to stay in front of your man without fouling or letting him get around you and kind of create a 2v1 for the center. He can improve on his shooting and ball handling, which will obviously improve his scoring and playmaking abilities. But there's not much weaknesses in his game. I didn't think he got the opportunity in Denver to show what he can do. Now that MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. is coming up, he didn't really get the opportunity there. But yeah, I feel like he was a late bloomer coming into the league when he was 23. But that always isn't a bad thing, as we've seen Pascal, Fred, strive, even though they came into the NBA later than usual. So I feel Torrey Craig would be a nice pickup to the team and would kind of fit the culture of the Raptors.
Okay. I think that covers up, some possible signings in the offseason we may see if we lose someone. Let's just broaden it out a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the free agents in general, and let's just give some takes on where you think they're going to go, or maybe the contract situation. So let's say Gordon Hayward, for example, Boston Celtics. He has a player option this year, and last year was given roughly $32 million. Do you see him 30 years old? Do you see him re-signing with the Boston Celtics? Do you think he's a necessary piece there that they need to continue their, great play? Or do you think that is he being overpaid? Or what are your thoughts? He played 45 games this season. So what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like he's been a bit inconsistent there. And I don't think he's using his full potential, because Gordon Hayward, he's a very good player with the ball in his hands. And I feel like with the Celtics, with Kyrie leaving, obviously, and Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Kemba, these guys all need the ball in their hand to really do damage, I feel. And Gordon Hayward hasn't been touching the ball and hasn't been playing as much minutes as he has been for Utah earlier in his career. And for $32 million, I see him leaving. I see him joining another contender. Because Hayward hasn't won a championship yet, maybe looking to win one. Or a team just kind of looking for a veteran experience, and Hayward just kind of looking to kind of get his career back on track with the scoring and being a 20-point scorer again consistently every game, and that's what I think about him.
I think I agree with you. I think that a move could be possible. It's all like, players people get comfortable, whether it's just basketball or all jobs in general. People kind of get comfortable in their position. So if he's okay with it, he might just stay, just he's getting paid, getting the money. But the franchise in general, I wonder if they want to give him that much for his role that he's playing and if it's going to be worth it. I think that a move wouldn't be the most surprising, in my opinion. Another veteran, Paul Millsap, 35 years old, power forward for the Denver Nuggets. He's an unrestricted free agent, but he's getting paid $30 million.
Wow.
That was last season, $30 million, yeah. This is like the Mark situation, a little bit even worse. 35 years old, I think, is when the contracts go. Unless you're LeBron James, 35 years old is an age where people are retiring. And Paul Millsap has had good play. He's had good years. And overall, he's been a good player throughout his career. But $30 million is obviously, I believe he'll take a pay cut. There's no way he's going to get paid $30 million by another team. He might ask for maybe 15 or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know when. For me, it's tough to even decide when these guys are going to retire. Because I see him as a veteran player that I think he would be fine with joining like a contending roster just to be a backup piece, maybe even like a 8th, 10th player in the roster. Like, let's say the Lakers, they take a lot of veteran pieces. Like, I feel like Paul Millsap, if he's going to go somewhere, he might as well go to a place that's got a good playoff contending chance and maybe get a ring out of it. Denver's a pretty good place to stay. But if he wanted to, he could probably join like a super team and just be a backup center and get a chip. I think it's as simple as that.
Okay. No, yeah, I agree with your Millsap point. I think, he either joins a real strong contender, but or he can choose the other option and and still go big with the contract, maybe trying to get around even 20, maybe 22 around there, with a non-playoff contending team, maybe a team like the Atlanta Hawks the Atlanta Hawks kind of have John Collins and Capella, or maybe like the Phoenix Suns, kind of lacking their depth in the power forward position. Maybe a team like that they need veteran experience. Yeah. But I either see him going really, really low with a playoff contending team, or really high with a non-playoff contending team.
Okay.
Next is DeMar DeRozan from the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah. Obviously, former Raptors legend, making $27.8 million per season this year. Gabe, what's your opinion on that? Do you see him joining a team like I was thinking the Memphis Grizzlies?
It's tough to say. I don't know. I can't really judge if he's gonna stay in the Spurs. Like, in all honesty, he could. If Pop is still there, he's a great coach. The system's okay, but obviously they haven't found like the most success compared to other teams in the league. There's obviously tons of room to maybe find maybe a different franchise, but I think that 27, I think he's getting paid well. The contract I don't think is a problem, but I'm not sure if he'd like to go somewhere. People are constantly saying, would you like having DeMar back on the Raptors? I've seen some posts like that, and I don't know. I don't know if I would. He's a good player, great offensive player. His defense obviously is not the strongest. But, overall, we did lose Kawhi. It's like going back to the old system. I'm not too sure. The Spurs, they haven't performed well enough this season. I guess they're going back to the Orlando, right? So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But he could definitely find probably a better place, maybe take his chance and go on a young team. Like, I don't know, even the Suns. Like, Memphis would be a cool one too. Him and Jaren Jackson partnering up with JV again. Some of his old teammates are there. I don't know. He could make a move. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves now that his loyalty was with the Raptors. That's where he liked being a loyal guy and wanted to stay with us. He had a lot of experience here, a lot of seasons with us. But now that we kind of let him go, I think he's now free to bounce around and find a comfortable home for him. If he thinks it's the Spurs, he could stay. But I wouldn't be surprised if he moves teams again and maybe finds this time a place that he wants to play.
No, yeah, I would agree with that, Gabe. I think also with LaMarcus Aldridge getting into his later years, I feel like the Spurs will move in kind of a more of a youth direction and kind of look to kind of get some more players from the draft and kind of rebuild from there. I know Pop likes his veterans and he likes players who've been like established and know the schemes that he wants. But I feel that that the Spurs, even the management, will kind of move in a younger direction because I feel like they've been a veteran team for a while, and they've been doing well. But since the Parker, Ginobili, Duncan era, they haven't had too much success, right, in like actually winning the championship. So they've been a steady playoff contender, but I think they will move in a youth direction. And try to kind of build their draft picks up and kind of trying to make their way up from the draft.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Otto Porter Jr. from the Chicago Bulls. He's making $26.6 million.
A lot of cash.
And he was injured this season. Yeah,
14 games played.
And he's making that much. Wow. That is, only averaging 11.9 points.
Yeah.
I don't see another team paying him $27 million.
Absolutely not. The question is, where does he go from here? He's 27 years old, role-playing starter at best, I guess. So where he goes is kind of uncertain to me. I don't really know what type of team would want him. Definitely not for that cash, though.
He's a three-point shooter. I remember him on the Washington Wizards when we played them. He was played pretty good against us in that series, hitting a lot of deep three balls, and he played defense well. Big guy, being at 6'8", and I think he can be a good fit for someone in the NBA. But I don't know what team exactly would want him.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just move on to Andre Drummond here. This one's an interesting one. There's always talk about Andre Drummond to the Raps, and at one point there was a trade lined up for, I believe, Andre Drummond for JV. Were you one of those people that thought that that'd be a good trade? Like, would you have done that move? Because at the time, JV was still young, and obviously he's still a young player now, but he wasn't, it wasn't as good of a player as we saw in his last couple of years with us. He didn't have those sparks of excellence just yet, and we see Drummond turn out to be a good player, a solid, 15 boards, 15 points, maybe even 20. He puts up good numbers, and I think that he's a pretty good center. Would you have done that move, JV for Drummond?
For sure. I think knowing what Drummond would have turned out to be now, I mean, 15-15, 20-20 guy, that is, and he does that consistently. It's not like this guy's doing it one game and then the next game he's putting up 5 points and 8 rebounds. Like, he's doing it consistently game by game. And I don't see him on Cleveland. I don't see them kind of doing well. I mean, Sexton and Garland running the point and the guards there. I don't see them doing well with him. I mean, maybe some pick and roll play they can run, but I think he can go into he can kind of try to move on to a contending team. Maybe even, I don't know. I was thinking but the Jazz have Gobert.
No, not the Jazz.
I was thinking maybe the Rockets. Which would be.
I don't know. I can't judge what they want though, because they love PJ Tucker at the center, which is, I don't know how that works, but it does. So I don't know. It's like 6'5", 6'5" center, like got a lot of weight, but still.
No, because the way they play, I feel like Drummond would kind of be that guy in the paint to grab the rebound.
It was like Capello. What Capello was basically.
Exactly, and he's a bigger guy too, and I think he brings a bit of more of a scoring touch than Capella to Drummond.
I agree with you. The question for me is cash situation. The Rockets payroll. Right now you got Westbrook and Harden. Definitely two big guys. This season, Westbrook is getting paid $38 million. Harden getting paid $37 million. And they're going to keep going up. Next season, they both touch 40 apiece. So you got a lot of cash running through those two guys for sure. Eric Gordon is about 15. Covington about 11. And then PJ Tucker 8, and everyone else has got 3 and a bit. Yeah. They're under, and they already off the bat salary this year. They're $7 million more than the Raptors, and next season they're already locked in for the exact same amount, $130 million. So they don't really have space to make this move. But play wise, I think it would be a good fit. It was like Capello when he was there, but I guess Capello, they made that move, and the space was needed if they were going to house Westbrook. So now they don't. That might not be much of an option. But I think Drummond, when he, even not knowing what he would have been,
Yeah.
I don't know if I guess we didn't pull the trigger, and I guess it kind of makes sense. We didn't know what he would turn out to be. We didn't know JV either, but JV, obviously, they're a pretty good pick in the draft. And, JV did get better. He improved his game. Even today, he's still a good player. But I think, obviously, now knowing what Drummond has become, and the last couple of seasons specifically, Drummond has improved to be the better player. And I would have liked to make the move. But back then, who knows?
Okay. I guess now moving on to Anthony Davis.
This is the big one here.
From the Lakers, making only $25.4 million this year. I mean, I say if the Lakers win the championship this season in the restart, I say he stays with the Lakers. Even if they make the finals, I still think he stays because LeBron James, he came to the Lakers wanting to play with LeBron James, right? And LeBron James, he's in his ending years of his career. And I think Davis is kind of a younger guy that's, not too young anymore, obviously 27, but he's obviously a younger superstar. And I think he can make a difference with LeBron James. I mean, those are maybe two of the top three players in the game today. Those are Davis can be one of the best, can be the best big man in the game today. And LeBron is, in my opinion, the best all-around player in the NBA. Yep. So I think they're a great duo together. I think if the Lakers can manage a championship, for sure Davis is staying.
Yeah.
If they do get eliminated somehow or someone gets injured, I do think there could be problems there. A lot of talk with Davis moving, but other than that, I see him staying with the Lakers.
Davis has a player option to re-sign next season, $28 million, so he could just accept that if he wants to guarantee his stay. He could obviously test the waters to try making more money, which he is probably worth, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just accepted that $28 million next season and solidified his term on the team. And then after that, he wants to make a move to ask for more money. Even if they win a championship, then it's well-deserving, and he could play out a bit of his future with the Lakers, not knowing how long LeBron would go. But contract-wise, though, they're pretty good for space. If he re-signs next season for that simple $28 million extension, they're going to be at basically $119 million, so even less than what the Raptors are now. So they have moves to even bring in another player, especially if they get rid of someone like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's getting paid $8 million right now, fourth highest paid in their team. It's LeBron, Davis, Danny Green, and then Caldwell Pope. So they could easily get rid of him and maybe pick up a better player for $12-15 million. And I think that roster would do pretty good in the season. And I think that Davis most likely would stay if they win. Even if they don't win, I think he's got good relations with LeBron. He's done enough moving as it is, and now that he ended up with LeBron James, I think this is as good as it gets on making a championship run.
Yeah, even in his early years, Davis, I think he kind of got the money with the Pelicans. He kind of got the payday he wanted, and now he's looking to win. He's been through the process of losing with the Pelicans, being the star, but now he actually just wants to win games, and I feel like the Lakers is a top contender for that, obviously. So.
Yeah, win a championship. I think that's a good idea for him. Should we finish it off maybe with Whiteside?
Yeah.
Okay, Hassan Whiteside, right now, this season, $24.6 million. He's an unrestricted free agent, 31 years old, 8 years of experience. We know him to munch boards and good blocker as well. He's got 14 rebounds per game, averaging 16 points per game. Puts in the stats as well. Very high on the list, averaging 3.1 blocks per game. That's definitely one of the highest, if not the highest. Great defensive player. I think that he's a solid player in general, but there's been a lot of shakiness, I think, with him and his play, and if he's playing to his full potential, or if, I don't know, there's a little bit of uncertainty here. 31 years old, and I don't really know what team would get after him here. Right now he's in Portland. I guess they could keep him. They got Dame, they got McCollum, and they've yet to solidify that championship run. They haven't made the finals. They fell short Western Conference Finals last year to Golden State. I'm curious to see what he does. He's been doing a little bit of bouncing around, and I wouldn't be surprised if he moves again. But I can't really see what home is set for him right now.
Okay. So I agree with that, Gabe. I feel like his work ethic is a bit low for the caliber player he is. He has had a lot of injury problems in the past with the Heat. And yeah, he's been always on the injured list. And I feel that's hurt him and his potential in growing. Yeah, like you said, he's a great defensive player. Obviously a rim protector, as we all know him as. And Portland, I feel it is a fit with McCollum and Lillard shooting, using the pick and roll game a lot.
You need a defensive anchor, basically.
Yeah, his stats have been great, but if he's looking to win, I still don't see him. I don't see that being a place to win in Portland. I feel like Lillard and McCollum, I don't know, they do well every year, but I don't know. I just don't feel like that's if he wants to go all the way or win a chip or make the finals. I don't see that as a place.
Yeah, they are the 9th seed right now, so a little uncertain of where he would be. Even like the Rockets, once again, like the Rockets could always use that big, like they play that undersized ball, and I'm not really a fan of it, even though they're somewhat successful with it. They could obviously always have that big back.
That's not even undersized, Gabe. That's not even undersized basketball. That's just like, I don't even know what that is, a 6'5" center. Why would you get rid of Capella?
I think
and put Tucker at the center? Like, it just makes no sense.
I think that
is there like Gabe? There could be an underlying foot problem with Capella. That's why. But I don't know what the reason was exactly.
I don't know if it's just contract situation. They want to free up space. Did they see the Westbrook move happening in the future? I don't know. I'm not a fan of it personally. Somehow they're somewhat successful with it. I like having the big. I thought Capella there was a great fit. They could obviously always use someone like Drummond or Whiteside just for that defensive presence and rebounding, even though like Harden does Westbrook does a good job on the glass for a guard. I think that one of those bigs are obviously perfect for there, but obviously contracts are a problem for them, and they got to figure that out themselves with two $40 million players. Yeah, I'm not too certain really what's going to happen with Whiteside, but I guess we got to wait and see what happens. Obviously, there's tons of other people in the free agency who I'm curious to see where they move. A lot of role players this year, a lot of decent $15 to $20 million players that could either re-sign or possibly move somewhere else and be a good piece to a championship contending team. I guess we just got to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of pieces to be filled here. There's a lot of free agents here. Let's see what the teams can kind of cook up and put together. What type of roster.
Raptors included. All right. I hope you all enjoyed. This has been episode 11 of Rapzville Weekly. Thank you all for coming. Everybody stay safe during the pandemic. Thank you all the frontline workers for doing their part. And yeah, that's us signing out. Peace.
Peace.